Dun, 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 dun.
Breaking news. Some maverick without his flyer ID or operator ID flew a drone in the vicinity of a rescue helicopter, preventing it from taking off. As well, so these are the two things. There's operator ID, there's flyer ID. It seems to me, now look up the CAA is where you get all this information. They're the regulator on this. This is the Civil Aviation Authority. Go onto their website, figure it out, put questions into Google search or whatever, and it'll probably bring up some automated response anyway. So it seems to me that I do need to get an operator ID. Now it costs £11 13p and you have to renew it annually. So that's for a year. That gets me my operator ID, and then I'll just get the number and then sellotape it onto whatever drones that I have. So I've got 2 drones that I'll be operating. I'll put that same number onto both drones. And it registers you so they know who you are if you're in any interesting circumstances. I thought that I might have needed legally the flyer ID, and I don't think I do, but it is recommended, and this is basically, it's recommended, so not just that you're flying legally, although you could be flying with an operator ID and not flying it legally in a sense, depending on what you're doing with it. But with the flyer ID, it's basically to go through that. You know, it's like doing a cycling proficiency course or not even a drone proficiency course with these multiple choice questions that are, to me, no-brainers, but to some it may not be a no-brainer. But even just the process to make you aware of the possible scenarios that you might have, whereby, you know, should you fly your drone out of line of sight where you can't see your drone anymore? Should you fly your drone over a crowd of people who haven't asked to be filmed or not? Should you use your phone to creep on people, or your drone to creep on people? Use your phone, that's fine, whatever. You know, there's all sorts of scenarios there. There's all sorts of people in the world, and they're all wired differently, and they could do all sorts of different things with drone technology. But, you know, for some people, actually, you know, it's just, they haven't thought about those situations and have just got their drone and they're like, oh yeah, this is class, and they're just, you know, full of excitement and going like, what can it do? And even without any malintent, might just end up, you know, doing things that aren't actually legal. So I think I will go through the process now of applying for an operator ID. That'll cost me £11 13p, I think, at the minute. That'll get me my wee number, and that wee number then I can attach onto the drones. That'll give me some sense of, like, you know, I'm flying, you know, as a law-abiding citizen, get my good citizen points. And then I might actually go through the flyer ID. I think it is it's just a free process. As I say, I think it's a lot more about the education of just making people aware of the types of things you ought to be thinking about if you're flying an unmanned aircraft. So yeah, I'm going to do those and get it sorted. Yeah. So here it is. I've actually just popped in CAA operator ID. Do I need one legally under 250 grams? The answer is drone operator ID required. If you are flying a drone under 250 grams in the UK, you do not need an operator ID if your drone is a toy or does not have a camera. However, if your drone under 250 grams is equipped with a camera, you will need to obtain an operator ID from the CAA for £11 13p annually. It is also recommended to get a flyer ID which shows you've passed a basic flying test and know how to fly safely and legally. There we go. Getting an operator ID for drones, UK Civil Aviation Authority. And this is for model aircraft as well, because again, they're basically unmanned aircraft, sharing airspace with manned aircraft. You must label your operator ID on every drone or model aircraft you're responsible for. You can use the same operator ID for all your drones and model aircraft. Always label your operator ID, not your flyer ID. I've heard some people suggesting actually labelling it underneath the battery compartment. So as long as essentially member of the law enforcement asked to see your operator ID, that it doesn't require tools in order to reveal that code. So having it underneath the battery, if the battery is removable, then that's, you can show the law enforcement person, there's my operator ID, without a tool, without screwdrivers or whatever else. So the operator ID must be visible from the outside or within a compartment that can be easily accessed without using a tool. There it is. Clear and in block capitals, taller than 3 millimeters, secure and safe from damage, and on the main body of the aircraft. Always make sure that anyone flying your drone or model aircraft has appropriate authorization, such as a valid flyer ID. So if some wee lads in the park say, mate, can I fly your drone? The answer is no. I've never been in that situation before. If you're under 18 years old, it would need to be a parent or guardian that basically gets the operator ID on your behalf, I think. Take everything I say with a pinch of salt. I'm going by the CAA, but like, you do your own stuff. Go and look up the Civil Aviation Authority, and this is for UK, so different places have their different authorities. Price: registration for an operator ID costs £11.79 now, and is valid for 1 year. Email: blah 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 blah. That's going to send me an email, which will give me a code. Dun 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 dun. Do you also need a flyer ID? This is where I'm indecisive about this. I don't need, as far as I'm aware, a flyer ID. It's just recommended, not required. Do I want to do that now? Yeah, screw it, right, okay, let's do it, let's get it done. Doesn't cost anything extra, it's just that wee test. We'll go through it and we'll see what crazy questions are on it. You should allow at least 30 minutes to complete the test, but you can take as long as you like. Apparently you can redo this as many times as you need to until you get, I think you need to get like 8 out of 10 questions right, or something like that. Well, the test has 40 multiple choice questions. You need to pass with a 30 at least right. I don't know why you would get more than 10 wrong, from what I've seen anyway. You can look at the drone and model aircraft code, which opens in a new tab during the test if you want to, and take the test as many times as you like. The test is free. Your flyer ID will be valid for 5 years. So operator ID renews, you have to renew it every year, and it's going to cost you £11.79 a year. This flyer ID is for 5 years and doesn't cost you anything. Start the test, let's do it. Let's do it. First test I've done in years. Here we go, question 1 of 40. Max flies his drone behind a group of tall trees. His drone is out of sight until it comes out the other side. Is this safe? Question 1, yes, as long as he's checked behind the trees first. Yes, because his drone is quickly back in view. Or C, no, because he must be able to see his drone at all times. I think it might be C. Like, what if there's a bear in the woods, a deer in the woods, and you smack the deer in the head? A person wandering through the woods or having a poop behind a tree and you smack them in the head. Question 3, Kieran is out flying his drone at a height of 40 meters. It's a very blustery day and a group of scouts are camping 50 meters away. What should Kieran consider so that he keeps his flight safe? 1, whether the scouts are allowed to go camping there. Telling the scout leader that he plans to fly his drone in the area and that they must stay away. Seems a bit bossy. Or C, as the weather conditions are windy, he needs to increase the horizontal distance between his drone and the scouts to more than 50 meters. I would go C. He's a wee bit bossy. Whether the scouts are allowed to go camping there, it's not really an issue if they are or not. It's like, gonna smack my drone into them anyway. They shouldn't have been there in the first place. He wants to fly his drone over a nearby holiday cottage. There's a car parked outside and it looks like people could be inside the cottage. Is he allowed to fly over the cottage? I'm thinking no. A, no, because the cottage is a residential site. B, yes, because any people around or inside the cottage not out and about. Or no, because you're never allowed to fly in the countryside, even if there are no people around. I'm sure you're allowed to fly in the countryside. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to fly over a residential site because anybody could come out at any time, willy-nilly. Right, what is the legal height limit for flying a drone or model aircraft? I believe it's 120 meters. It's a great thing, you just look up the answers. What is the legal height for flying a drone? The drones have amazing, like, you know, even my little Neo with the controller, you're able to fly at like 2 kilometers range, as in it's physically capable of it, but you're just not allowed to fly it out of line of sight, and you know, you're just sort of limiting that. And same with like the height, you know, can that drone go higher? I'm absolutely sure it can. But you're just not allowed to for various reasons. Question 7. Raj has a 8K drone. Jeez, Raj, what are you doing with that? He flies his drone at a height of 80 meters in the countryside. What should he do to make sure he keeps flying safely? Fly at a horizontal distance of 40 meters from any people who are not with him, or increase the horizontal distance from any people who are not with him to about 80 meters, or tell anyone nearby to watch out as he's flying there. I'm going to go B. Even if I'm just being overly cautious. Which of these is the best way to check if there are any restrictions and whether you can fly in a particular place? There are apps you can get. I did actually download one, I haven't used it yet. Look on a drone app that displays the correct and up-to-date airspace restrictions. I would say that's pretty bang on. 2, look on the BBC website. 3, look at a local newspaper. Let's go with answer 1. Right, question 10, we're quarter of the way through. Why is it important you can always see your drone or model aircraft clearly enough that you can tell which way it's facing? So that your operator ID is visible? No, so that you can steer and control it safely even if something happens unexpectedly. Sounds about right. Or so that you can tell which way the camera is facing. So a lot of these questions seem geared towards the self-absorbed, I want to get a good shot type mentality that some people may have, or being safe. It seems to be trying to whittle these people out, the wheat from the chaff. Which of these best describes the open A1 and A3 subcategories of drone and model aircraft flying? I actually don't know that one. The options are high risk complex flying, basic low risk flying, moderate risk flying. This is just to see whether you've actually read the drone stuff. It's not going to make me a safer drone flyer to know this, just to be aware. So I don't feel bad about looking this one up. Yeah, so A1 is about fly over people, but not over assemblies of people. It's low risk. It says it's designed for low risk. But it allows for the operation of larger drones between 250 grams and less than 25 kilograms. That's some drone. Jeepers, oh. Right, 3 friends have hiked up a hill that's 50 meters high. They're standing at the top of the hill and deciding how high they can fly their drones. Which of them is right? It's from the elevation, not from sea level. So yeah, you can fly 120 meters from whatever height you're at. So if you're on the top of Everest, you can fly your drone 120 meters. Not that it'll just freeze. Get out of your big down jacket and it'll just freeze in seconds and won't fly anywhere. Okay. So Elias is right. We can fly up to 120 meters to the closest point of the surface of the Earth. Next. 13, 3 friends are talking about how they watch their drones when out flying on their own. Which one is flying safely? So are they flying their drones looking at the drone, or are they looking at the camera on their phone? Well, I'd imagine you'd be wanting to not, because there's things that you will not see on the camera that you need to actually keep your eyeballs on. You'll see potential hazards. Why should you keep the drone's built-in software firmware updated in line with the manufacturer's instructions? So that the air traffic control can see the drone on the radar? No. So that your drone performs in the way the manufacturer intends? Yes. So the drone manufacturer can identify you? B. So it performs the way intended and is safe to fly? 15, Gareth is at a party with a group of friends. He decides to drop some water balloons from his drone. Is he allowed to do this? Yes, because he's with friends. No, you must never drop anything from a drone or model aircraft. Or yes, because water balloons do not count as dangerous material. No, I imagine you're not allowed to drop anything from a model aircraft or drone. I was going to make some ethical comments, but I won't. When you look at a map, it looks like part of your flight will go over a busy motorway. Are you allowed to fly over the motorway? No, because you must never fly over people, including people in transport. Tim walks along a public footpath in a neighbouring field until he's at least 50 metres away from anyone before starting to fly. He avoids flying over anyone. That sounds about right. Pascal owns a large farm. He sometimes uses a drone to transport items to his farm workers. One of his farm workers calls and asks Pascal to use the drone to send over a bottle of chemical cleaning fluid. Can't Pascal do this? No, I'm just going, no, I'm not even going to read out the other answers. That's ludicrous. You're flying when you become aware that the emergency services, right? So this is something related to the article, the situation in the Mourne Mountains with the rescue helicopter, drone scenario, shared airspace. You're out flying when you become aware that the emergency services are responding to a nearby road traffic accident. Which of the following should you do? Ask the emergency services if they need you to fly overhead and get some video of what's going on. Safely and immediately stop flying until it's clear the incident is over. Or third option, fly towards the accident to see if you can get some dramatic video of what's happened. So I can totally understand, like, it's the rubberneckers and the whole crash thing, or like, it's a spectacle, there's something going on and the desire to see things, and like, but having a greater sense of, what's happening and not just your own selfish needs and desire to voyeur on situations like that. So B, safely and immediately stop flying until it's clear the incident is over. When must you always have insurance for flying your drone or model aircraft? Yeah, so if you fly for any commercial reason, you must have third-party insurance as a minimum. And suddenly you notice an air ambulance flying in the direction of your drone or model aircraft. What should you do? Again, relevant to the scenario in the Mournes. Hover at around 10 metres or land. Then wait until it's safe to continue with your flight. I think that is the recommended, that you don't actually have to totally take it out of the air. It's flying past, take it down to 10 metres. And then these other ones, there's probably no point even reading them. Attempt to gain the attention of the air ambulance to warn them of your drone, or fly towards the air ambulance so that the pilot, not even finishing that, right? Hovered around 10 metres or land it. Right, Denise is at the coast and wants to fly her 245-gram drone out to sea and back over the beach. It's a busy bank holiday weekend and the beach is full. Is she allowed to do this? I imagine not. No, because the beach is crowded and you must never fly over crowds. See, this is the educational. It's like wiring it in, the stuff that you should be thinking about. Elsa has a 240-gram drone. Nick has a 6-kilogram drone. They head to a local park. Which of them can fly at this recreational site? Okay, they're not all totally common sense. No brainers. I'm going to say Elsa with her 240-gram drone. Yeah. Okay, I might get some of these wrong. I'll be so ashamed of myself. Which of the following statements are correct? The drones and model aircraft are only small, so it's safe to fly them. That's if you're under the influence of drink. Being fit and safe to fly means never flying under the influence of drink, drugs, or medicine, or if you're tired or unwell, I imagine so. Drones and model aircraft are only small, so it's only little. Right, you're out flying a drone in an area you know well. It's January and you start to get worried you might lose sight of your drone in the glare of the low winter sun. What should you do? It'll be that steadily fly your drone back towards you until you're sure you can see it. I would say that, then reassess before deciding whether to carry on. I would say B. Or land as soon as you lose sight of the drone, even though you can't see where it's landing. Again, you can't see where it's landing. It's not a clear line of sight. I would go B. Andrea realises she's accidentally recorded some video through a neighbour's window when filming with her drone. Accidentally. Which of the following must you check so that you can fly safely? That your drone camera is working, that's not about safety. That there are plenty of people around. not about safety, that your drone has enough fuel or battery power to last through your planned flight. That would be something to do with safety. 3 friends are talking about their drones and model aircraft to fly in an empty field near to an airport. The field is outside the fence that marks the airport's boundary. Which of the friends is correct? Last one is, we must check that the field is outside the airport's flight restriction zone before we fly. No brainer. Amin is an experienced mountain biker and drone enthusiast. His drone does not have follow me mode. He decides to have a go at flying his drone while slowly cycling along a familiar track that he knows well. Is he allowed to do this? I very much doubt it, and there's only one answer that says no. Stefan wants to fly his 240-gram drone at a nature reserve to film some nesting birds. Can he do this? Well, it could be disturbing wildlife. Is my instinct. Yes, because his drone weighs less than 250 grams. Or yes, because there are no people around. Or no, because you must not fly where you'll disturb or endanger animals and wildlife. I'd be quite sensitive. Like the noise of drones disturbs me. Things like disturbing ground nesting birds. Yeah, that would be horrible. Breeding season and yeah. Yeah, I'd be very cautious about flying the drone anyway in general, but yeah, I'd be very conscientious of critters. Sarah's out in the countryside, about to go flying her drone, when she spots a light aircraft parked and equipped that suggests there could be an airfield there. However, her drone app is not showing a flight restriction zone for an airport. What should she do? It could be like a CIA secret drug drop. The fun Black Ops. She could get shot. Assume there must be a small airfield without a flight restriction zone, so they must exist and not fly on or near the airfield, as she could pose danger to the safety of the aircraft. Which of the following sites are likely to be protected by restricted airspace? That would mean you cannot fly a drone or model aircraft around or over them without permission from them. I can already see this one straight away. So 1, lakes, rivers, canals and other waterways. No. 2, open countryside. Or 3, military ranges and royal palaces. 38, nearly done. What must you do if you're responsible for several drones or model aircraft that require an operator ID? Label every drone or model aircraft you're responsible for with your flyer ID. With your operator ID. Label every drone or model aircraft you're responsible for with the same operator ID. Yes. Or label every drone or model aircraft you're responsible for with a different operator ID for each one. No. Every drone model aircraft you're responsible for with the same operator ID. 39 off 40, home run. Hannah and Sophia are out flying with some friends who all want an aerial photo of themselves. Hannah's drone weighs 240, Sophia's drone weighs 8 kilograms. What's Sophia doing with a drone that weighs 8 kilograms? Which of them is allowed to briefly fly their drones over the group of friends? Hannah only because her drone is small, neither of them because it's illegal to fly over people even when they're with you, or both of them as long as your friends have agreed it's okay and they fly safely. I would imagine it's both of them, even an 8 kilogram drone. But 8 kilograms, imagine that dropping into the sky. So based on the current UK drone laws in 2025, flying an 8 kilogram drone over people would generally not be permitted, even with permission. There we go. So nobody wants an 8 kilogram drone dropping out of the sky onto their noggin, whereas a 250 gram drone or less, it's going to hurt. It could cause some issues, but shouldn't cause any lasting damage. Right, last one here. It's going to be a tricky one, I bet you, just to catch you off guard. Lee is out flying his drone when a hang glider. I keep saying hand glider whenever I say hang glider. I call it a hang glider. It's not a hand glider, it's a hang glider. Jeez, I'm only really realising that now. I've been saying hang glider all my life. A hang glider. I can't even say it right. Hang glider. Suddenly appears over the brow of a hill. He comes very close to colliding with that hang glider, but just about manages to drop to a safe height. What must he do following the near miss? Probably needs to report the near miss, I'm guessing. 1, reporting to the near miss to CAA. Not report what happened because nobody was injured, or not report what happened because he's worried he might get into trouble. I'm going to go report it, right? Okay. We're on the complete test button. You scored 39 out of 40, so got 1 wrong. It was actually that last one. that the say got wrong, which was it was only Hannah was allowed to fly it, even though they had permission to fly because of the 8 kilograms. I don't know if it actually, if I missed the bit where it was like under 8 kilograms or if it's over 8 kilograms. So if it's 8 kilograms and under, maybe there's something like that, but that seems a bit, so who knows, maybe they haven't updated themselves, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Got one wrong, but even though I was going off the CAA website. Right, now continue to get your flyer ID and operator ID. Continue. What is your name? Dinglebert Humperdinck. Date of birth. Can't even remember. I thought it was 47. I'm actually 48. Thanks to bumping into my sister-in-law. And here is just to say, I confirm that I am 48 years old. Now, if I hadn't bumped into my sister-in-law 2 weeks ago in IKEA, who then, you know, through chatting with a brother who, you know, was 3 years older than me, and it turned out I thought he would turn 50 on his last birthday, but he turned 51. So I then realised that I'm actually 48 and not 47. If I hadn't had that encounter and I was just sitting here doing this little test, you know, oh, finish test, apply, what's your date of birth? And then it just says, I confirm that I am 48 years old. I would have been like, no, I'm not. I lost the year of my life in the puff of smoke. Thank you for your payment of $11.79 to register for an operator ID. We've emailed your receipt. Please continue with your registration. Well, there's my operator ID, so that's what I need to put on to my drones. So I'll just scribble that down now, but I'll do this properly later. Oh, you can select print size, credit card size, or A4. So I can go to the library. I don't need to put it on a memory card. I can just turn up the library, go into my emails, and basically turn up the library, open my email, go into this here, put in my date of birth, email, and it'll give me that little flyer ID, and then I can print out 2 of those. You can do credit card size. I might do that, and then I can just like put clear tape over them or something just to keep them watertight, weatherproof-ish. And keep them in my drone cases with each drone, and then I'll get the operator ID, and I'll just probably write that out in block capitals and black Sharpie. I'll get my Sharpie out and I'll write them out. Right, that's cool. That's that done. Hate that word, compliant. Right, that's a wee bit of the ins and outs of what you ought to be thinking about if you have a drone with a camera on it, even if it's under 250 grams. Right, that's it for now. That's just up to date. I've got new hammock ordered and suspension system, super lightweight, really chuffed with it. It's going to take another at least 200 grams off my hammock setup, if not more. So yeah, I'll show you those next time I'm out. But for now, it's the secret about what they are. Right, for now, over and out. Be safe with your drones. Don't be being a maverick out there with your drone, because your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. You hear? Also, stay away from rescue helicopters. Don't be a numpty. The police are coming for you. Right, just been to the library, printed out my flyer ID. I'm now safe and effective. Right, so I've been to the library, printed out 2 of my flyer ID, and all I need to do is get a Sharpie, write down my operator ID, and hopefully it's just going to be long enough to fit into my battery compartment. So basically want it to be small enough to fit in there. If a peeler comes along and says, well, give us your details, be able to pull that out and go like, there you are, officer, off the law. In the Mavic, the battery compartment is in there, so there's nowhere I can't really put that in that wee bit's not, so realistically it's gonna probably have to, yeah, I think on the Mavic I'd have to put it along here, and then one of the propellers struts goes over that, but yeah, I think that's where I'll have to put it, on the Mavic. So there you go. The online process, like the operator ID thing, was like literally a monetary transaction and a few details, not that many details really, and it probably would have taken about 10 minutes, maybe 15 for a bit of faffing around. The multiple choice question thing for the flyer ID, yeah, it probably did take about half an hour. You know, if you didn't even think about it, and I could have passed it without really thinking about it, it would have taken less than half an hour. But because I was doing the video and looking stuff up as I went along, it took probably about half an hour. I can fly my drones more responsibly now. And I have to admit, actually, I don't know if I'll overlay some footage, because I've only really used a few drone shots. But even the first time on that first video I did where I used drone footage, which was where I slept up on White Rocks Beach, actually some of that footage wasn't compliant with the regulations. There was a bit where I was on the beach and I was flying the drone, like it was quite high up, you know, it was flying over me, but there were people on the beach ahead of me. And there wasn't 50 meters in between, you know, and so that actually wasn't compliant. So that was not what I should be doing. Even that one example, you know, it's just being naive, not knowing, not having looked it up, and not thinking that you had to look it up and figure that stuff out. Is it okay to fly a drone and do those things? So yep, mea culpa. I did fly a drone on a beach with about four, I think it was like 4 people and a dog. But they were near enough, they were close by me, and all I needed to do was wait, because actually the shot that I used was pretty much after they had passed me by. I could easily have just not waited till they went past and then flew the drone, and the rest of the beach was totally clear and it would have been totally fine. So there we go, there's my learnings about the legality of drones in the UK. So I hope that's been useful, helpful, and yeah, go get it sorted, so you know that you're compliant and you're not going to get any problems. At least get your operator ID, and if you feel like you want to do the wee multiple choice question, which I do actually recommend, that, because there you go, I'm just telling you about something I was doing oblivious to to the regulations about flying drones. So even me, so yeah, I do think it is, do get the operator ID, and I would recommend actually getting the flyer registration thing done. It's free, it takes 30 minutes, just as a wee education, go for it. Somebody's electric's gone, it's probably mine. I call that the sound of poverty. Right, peace out, saunter on.